Good evening, everybody. I'm Fictional Crystals, and no new gem. Despite what everyone else is saying, I actually didn't find Rocknaldo too bad. There was a few things in the episode I found quite funny. I think the main reason people are disappointed in this episode is because it was overhyped. Especially since Cartoon Network clickbaited us by posting this photo of a gem. That didn't turn out to be an actual gem, which is why people are so annoyed. I found it pretty predictable that this would be Ronaldo's gemsona, so I didn't have as high expectations as everyone else, which is probably why this episode didn't hugely let me down. I definitely don't think this is the best episode of the series, but I wouldn't say it's the worst either. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for just saying that because it's a very unpopular opinion. Guys, Ronaldo is literally a parody of the fanbase. He complained over tiny little things about the crystal gems. He wanted them to be how he wanted. The same way some people in the fanbase complain over everything in the show. Heck, he even made his own gemsona. Yes, I think this episode certainly could have been better, but I think a lot of other people who are reviewing this episode are blowing the bad stuff way out of proportion. In this video, I'll mainly be focusing on the positives of this episode, mostly because you've probably already heard a lot of people talk about the negatives. Though I agree it was wrong of Cartoon Network to falsely advertise this episode with this picture, and the synopsis for the episode was terrible. The episode starts off with Ronaldo handing out pamphlets. Steven takes one and sees it's about rock people. Steven's a lot more sensible now, so he immediately knew rock people was referring to gems. Compare it to Keep Beach City Weird, where he didn't realize all the stuff that was weird was because of the gems.
What's so funny about Sneeple? Look at this!
That must be from when we fought those drill parasites on the beach.
Even though Ronaldo episodes may be some of the weaker episodes, there's always one thing that they're great at. And that is foreshadowing.
We're here to hollow out the earth! It's part of the Great Diamond Authority!
There are several things in this episode which could be foreshadowing. The first one is gems are adding mind control minerals to the water supply.
They're adding mind-controlling minerals to our water supply?
And the second is Bloodstone will become a real gem, not just Ronaldo's gemsona. And then there's crushed up minerals coursing through someone or something's blood.
Be like deep in my heart, or like a million tiny gems, like one crushed up gem coursing through my blood, like...
Of course we'll have to wait and see if these things actually come true. But tell me if there's anything else in this episode which could be foreshadowing. The line about rock people hating men I found so hilarious. That line was poking at a lot of things. Steven immediately confronts Ronaldo about the things he said about gems, and shows Ronaldo that he's a gem too. Ronaldo questions his existence because of this and decides to join the crystal gems. Looks like we got a new very temporary crystal temp. He actually posted about the scenario on his real-life blog Keep Beach City Weird. My favourite character in this episode was definitely Pearl. Her reactions and nicknames were amazing.
No, you are not living here. And you certainly can't join the crystal gems.
Steven was still able to convince her, Garnet and Amethyst to let him join though. He was being a bit preachy on the whole love and acceptance thing. We all know that since Ronaldo became a crystal gem, he decided to call himself Bloodstone. He even had his own gem weapon. It was a katana he bought at a convention, and it had diamonds on it. On his blog, you can see that he loves katanas. And anime. Steven surprisingly seems to like durian juice. Being a crystal gem now, Ronaldo wanted to go on missions. But the gems rightfully knew it was too dangerous for him. He said, "I'm a crystal gem too," which was what Steven said in the return.
I'm a crystal gem too!
I'm a crystal gem too.
He was acting a bit like early season 1 Steven, except he's a lot older, and doesn't really have an excuse for why he acts the way he does. Ronaldo refused to sleep because gems didn't sleep. Combining his lack of sleep with his normal attitude was not good. Steven's been so stressed out lately that he needs a calming voice to put him to sleep. Steven's interrupted sleep reminded me of Connie in the new Crystal Gems. Speaking of Connie, she briefly appeared in this episode, and it's been confirmed that Connie is a human crystal gem. Yet somehow Ronaldo got a star before Connie, Lapis, or Peridot. Ronaldo called Connie Steven's girlfriend. It was like how most fans think of them as in a relationship. Neither Steven nor Connie have said they're in a relationship, but at this point, I'd basically agree with Ronaldo. However, I refuse to get into a shipping war, so moving on. Steven had enough of Ronaldo. So he told him how he was feeling. They're being consistent with how Steven's changed lately, which is good. Ronaldo immediately passes out because of lack of sleep, so the gems take him home. Even after how rude Ronaldo was to the crystal gems, Steven still wanted him to be okay. Caring Steven's still there even though he's gotten more assertive. 3 weeks later, Steven and Ronaldo see each other again. That means in this episode, a whole month passed. A whole month without them getting the rubies or the diamonds coming to Earth. So many people are overlooking that at the end of the episode, Ronaldo started to get some character development. It wasn't major, obviously he's not going to turn around just like that, but it's a start. His realization at the end of the episode was certainly better than his realization at the start of the episode. This time he didn't try joining the crystal gems. For once he realized how he was acting was wrong. He even photoshopped himself with a stock photo of Pearl, and politely asked Steven why he didn't go by his gem name. Steven replied with this.
My gem name is my mom's name. Actually, the only time gems really call me that is if they're about to kidnap me or beat me up.
It is you, isn't it, Rose?
Rose, of course. The mighty Rose Quartz.
And then Ronaldo replied with "That's rough, buddy," which immediately reminded me of Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you've seen that show, you'll know what I'm talking about. Overall, I'm okay with this episode. I could tell there were a lot of jokes about Tumblr.
You're just a guy with a blog!
Though I admit this episode was pretty predictable and definitely could have been better. And the false advertisement created false excitement which let a lot of people down. If you hate this episode, then you hate this episode, that's fine, it's your opinion. And I can understand why you didn't like this episode, but I personally am fine with it. It could have been better, but it could have been worse.
That could have gone a lot worse.
Could have gone a lot better too.
Some episodes aren't as good as others, but I just enjoy the show for what it is. This episode already aired, you can't exactly go back and change what happened in it. Unless one of you has the glass of time. And seriously, if you hate Ronaldo so much, then why act like him? You know, with an intense emotional episode being before this, they had to lighten the mood somehow. Anyway, thanks for watching and keep Peach City weird.